Today, we're diving deep into the long-awaited Harry Potter TV series, currently in development at HBO. And casting rumors are heating up, with some confirmed names that have fans buzzing. It's a total reimagining of J.K. Rowling's world, with a new tone, a new structure, and some bold creative decisions. Let's break it all down. Nick Frost as Hagrid. Let's start with one of the most unanimously beloved characters in the franchise, Hagrid. According to reports, Nick Frost is poised to take on the role of the half-giant groundskeeper. And honestly, this might be the most universally approved casting decision so far. Frost, known for his work in Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, is mostly celebrated for his comedic timing. But don't be fooled. He's got emotional range. And that's essential for Hagrid. This is the character who introduces Harry and us to the magical world. He's big, boisterous, a bit reckless, and endlessly kind. Nick Frost brings a gruff warmth to his performances that feels tailor-made for this role. And while he may be known for laughs, Hagrid isn't just comic relief. He's emotionally vulnerable. He's the guy who mourns a spider-like family. He raises dragons in secret. He's all in. The challenge will be getting the look right: costuming, prosthetics, and hair. Because if HBO messes up the beard, the internet will riot. Olivia Colman as Umbridge. Next up, one of the most hated characters in the series, Dolores Umbridge. Rumor has it Olivia Colman is being eyed for the role. And honestly, if you want to make audiences seethe, this is the casting to make. Colman is a master of nuance. She can flip between kind and cruel with surgical precision. We've seen it in The Favorite, Fleabag, and The Crown. And that's exactly what Umbridge requires. Because Umbridge isn't a flashy villain. She's quiet, petty tyranny wrapped in a pink cardigan. She's the evil that smiles while she tortures. And that's much harder to portray convincingly than a cackling villain. Colman has the range, the timing, and, maybe most importantly, the ability to make viewers viscerally uncomfortable. Bonus? She'd follow Imelda Staunton again, just like in The Crown. Almost poetic. Paapa Essiedu as Snape. Now for the most controversial casting so far, Paapa Essiedu as Severus Snape. Yes, it's confirmed. And yes, the internet is split. But here's the case for why this might be a brilliant decision. Essiedu's performance in I May Destroy You was raw, complex, and emotionally devastating. He showed us someone who is charming one moment, self-destructive the next, and always deeply human. That's what Snape is. Snape isn't just bitter. He's a man built from trauma, loss, and obsession. He's a character who masks his pain behind cruelty while carrying an impossible weight of regret. Essiedu has the skill to peel those layers back without ever making the character too likable or too villainous. And let's be real. No one can or should try to copy Alan Rickman. This reboot has a chance to rebuild Snape from the ground up. Essiedu could give us something new, something raw, and maybe something even closer to how Snape reads on the page. John Lithgow as Dumbledore. This one raised some eyebrows. John Lithgow as Albus Dumbledore. At first glance, the American accent might give some fans pause. But let's dig deeper. Lithgow has played wise, eccentric, and intense before. From The Crown to Dexter, he brings a gravitas that works beautifully for Dumbledore's quieter, darker moments. And let's not forget, this is a man with 2 Oscars and multiple Emmys. He understands how to play layered authority figures. And Dumbledore is nothing but layers. The key will be whether Lithgow can bring the whimsy without losing the weight. Dumbledore is both sage and trickster. His moral code is gray. His plans are manipulative. But his heart? Genuine. If Lithgow can capture that complexity, this could be a sleeper hit. Janet McTeer as McGonagall. Janet McTeer, best known for Ozark and Albert Nobes, is reportedly in talks for Professor McGonagall. She brings a cold steel edge and a commanding presence, which is exactly what this role demands. McGonagall isn't flashy, she doesn't crack jokes, but she's fiercely loyal, brilliantly intelligent, and not afraid to throw down when the moment calls for it. McTeer, with her sharp delivery and poise, could embody that beautifully. She's not Maggie Smith, and she shouldn't try to be. This is a chance for a fresh take. Ben Barnes as Sirius Black. Now we're entering fan dream territory. Ben Barnes has been fan cast as Sirius Black for years, and now that rumor may finally become reality. Barnes has the look, rugged, intense, handsome, but with an edge. He's played the tortured anti-hero more than once, and Sirius is the definition of that archetype. He's the rebellious godfather, the fallen prodigy, the emotionally volatile big brother figure who never quite grew up. He's charming but haunted. Barnes could balance that duality beautifully. And honestly, the internet would probably explode. Peter Capaldi as Ollivander. Another rumored gem, Peter Capaldi as Garrick Ollivander. Capaldi, best known for Doctor Who, has a knack for intensity. He can make a single sentence sound like prophecy or madness. Ollivander, the wand maker, is supposed to be unsettling. He knows things he probably shouldn't. He speaks in riddles. And he treats wands like living creatures. Capaldi fits this role perfectly. It's one of those rare castings where you just go, yep, nailed it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Aunt Petunia. One of the most surprising names in the mix? Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Aunt Petunia. This is a huge tonal shift from her usual work, but that might be exactly why it's interesting. Petunia isn't just an angry aunt. She's someone who grew up in the shadow of magic and was rejected by it. Her bitterness is rooted in grief and shame. Waller-Bridge, known for her emotionally complex roles, could bring an unexpected vulnerability to Petunia, making her feel more like a tragic figure than just a cruel one. Could be one of the most nuanced performances in the series if done right. Production details. All right, let's step away from the casting buzz for a moment and talk about what's happening behind the scenes. Because this reboot isn't just changing faces, it's redefining the entire approach to how the Harry Potter story is told on screen. Leading the charge is Francesca Gardner, who's stepping in as showrunner and executive producer. If that name sounds familiar, it's because she's worked on some of the most critically acclaimed series of the last decade, like Succession and His Dark Materials. What does that mean for Harry Potter? Well, Gardner's background suggests a strong focus on character development, political nuance, and moral complexity. All things that the books hinted at, but the films often had to skim over. Directing duties will be handled in part by Mark Mylod, another Succession alum. He's known for balancing tension, dry wit, and emotional depth, all of which are crucial when adapting a story that moves from magical whimsy to full-on wartime tragedy over the course of 7 books. Joining the writer's room is Laura Neal, who previously worked on Killing Eve. That show is sharp, psychologically rich, and doesn't shy away from dark humor or complex female characters, which bodes well for characters like Hermione, Ginny, and even Bellatrix if we get that far. This team isn't made up of blockbuster action directors or high fantasy veterans. It's made of people who specialize in character-driven prestige television. That tells us a lot about the tone this reboot is aiming for. Thoughtful, layered, and likely a lot more grounded than the original films. Filming locations. Unlike the original films, which were primarily shot at Leavesden Studios and relied heavily on constructed sets, the new series appears to be going for a more location-driven aesthetic. Reports suggest that Warner Bros. Is keeping Leavesden as a core production hub, but they're also scouting real-world castles, villages, and countryside locations across the UK and Ireland to bring a more natural, tactile feel to places like Hogwarts, Hogsmeade, and the Ministry of Magic. This shift toward real locations could completely change the visual language of the series. Expect moss-covered stone, creaky staircases, and candlelit corridors that look more haunted than whimsical. This isn't just about visuals, though. It's about immersion. Using authentic locations helps sell the idea that this world could exist just beyond what we see. Structure. One book, one season. The biggest structural difference? Each book will get its own full season. That's potentially 7 to 10 episodes per year of story, character, and world building that the films simply didn't have time for. Hermione's house elf activism, which was completely cut from the films, back on the table. The fate of the Gaunts and the full backstory of Tom Riddle? There's time for that now. Even characters like Charlie Weasley, Peeves, and Winky the house elf, who never made it into the films, might finally get their due. What's also exciting is that this structure gives room to develop characters who were often reduced to 1 or 2 traits in the films. Ginny Weasley, for example, has a full arc in the books that barely exists on screen. Lupin and Tonks, Neville's growth, all of that can breathe in this format. What's next? The trio, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, are still unannounced. Same with Voldemort and the Weasley family. These are the roles that will define the series. While there's no firm release date yet, current production schedules suggest we might see the first season premiere sometime in 2027. That sounds far off, but remember, this isn't a rushed blockbuster. HBO is playing the long game here. Final thoughts. This reboot is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious adaptations of the decade. The casting choices are bold, the creative team is strong, and the format finally gives the source material room to breathe. Whether you're cautiously optimistic or all in, it's hard not to be curious. So let's hear it. Who would you cast as the Golden Trio? Voldemort? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates as this magical series takes shape. See you in the next one.